Hello and welcome to my channel. So today we're doing a top 5 sneakers of the year of 2020, and I'm honoured to announce that we have been joined by ErdensKitchen, who is helping us today with his list as well. So hello, Erden.
Hey Sai, how are you?
Yeah, good man. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Excellent. So just a disclaimer, we've actually already recorded this, but I'm an idiot and I messed up the audio. So we're going for round 2. So just bear with me and I'll try and act as surprised as I can with Erden's list, okay? All right, so let's start. So here's my number 5. The Nike Air Paranoise 2.0, okay? And the reason why I selected this shoe as my number 5 is purely because of just it just looks great in my opinion. And as I said earlier, you've got the 1.0 behind you and it looks gorgeous as well. The 2.0 was just I think it was just the ease of how easy it is on the eye and how easy it is to wear. I've always thought that, you know, like the white Air Force Ones, I feel like they're just so straight. They go with everything: blue jeans, black jeans, cargos, joggers, shorts, like anything. They're just so easy to wear. But what was your number 5?
So I have the mochas as number 5. I don't mind. I don't disagree with the fact that the Paranoise 2.0 is your number 5. I think it's a really clean looking shoe. The design of it is still very unique when you're talking about, like, you can actually peel the outside layers and they have another layer of graphic inside of it. So definitely from a design perspective, very clean. And on top of that, with the white Air Force One, like you said, it can go with anything. Like, that's just like a staple in a lot of people's sneakers collections. So, but for me, I just don't wear Air Force Ones a lot. So I wear Jordan 1s a lot more. So that's why I have the Mocha 5s. And I think being it as a poor man's Travis Scott 1s and the material of it, it's really comfortable. I think Mochas should be on the top 5, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very reasonable decision. And obviously, with just, as you said, like the hype from the Travis Scott was just nuts. Obviously, knowing how expensive they are just meant they were just so inaccessible to people. So having like that fallback option where people can sort of get something similar to Travis's, which it was fine. I think the Mochas were a great release, and I think well timed as well to get people, you know, who are keen on the Travis's to get them a second chance. My number 4, I've put down the Habibi dunks. And if anyone knows me, they know that I'm half Arab, and this is my roots, man. This is my roots. It had to be in the top 5. It was the detailing for me. I think the way that they made these, and like even like the threads and like the materials and the colors were just like iconic Arab. Like I just look at them and just think, wow, like shawarma. I need to eat shawarma. That's all I start thinking. Like I just want. It's just good. It's just such a nice, wholesome shoe, and it's easy to wear. And like I feel like the red and white on Nikes just goes so well with everything. Like you've obviously got the off-white Jordan 1s behind you, which are red and white as well, and they're just iconic in that Chicago colorway. And the only thing which really annoyed me about this shoe is how limited they were. And with dunks, like we've come to understand that, you know, they just released in skate shops, but these dunks specifically, they released in so few pairs. Even for skate shop standards, these were rare. These were like stupidly rare. So to get your hands on these was, you know, it was no easy feat. But what was your number 4?
My number 4 was another dunk, actually. It's the Chunky Dunky dunk, actually. I just felt that, I mean, people may find it tacky just because the colorway and it's got like cow skins on the back and I don't know, like the clouds and everything. But to me, I just felt like it's the design of it is really nice. Like my wife got it for me during our anniversary, and I loved it. I was wearing it anywhere, like Costco, just to go to the mall, but like I can put it with any outfit I have. I just love rocking it, and I think it's just. People may find it hard to wear with like different colors of pants or shirts, but I think it's just a really cool looking design. And on top of that, with the dunk being a really hype shoe this year, I think that was a very, very nice shoe. Yeah,
absolutely, and very smart by Nike. I think it was a very out there collab, as we can probably both agree. It's not a shoe you would sort of see and just not really realize. Like, you notice that thing. Like if you see it in the street from like a mile away, like, you know, like
Yeah.
that's a funky shoe he's wearing. But can we also just highlight about how Erden said how his wife got it for us, as if it's like a joint collaboration. Like do you like wear one shoe each, or like how does that work? But no, absolutely, I think it's a cool shoe. And I mentioned earlier about the box, like the special packaging as well, which was obviously a lot more limited, but really cool design. I mean, they made the most out of what could have been a very bog standard collab. They really made the most of it. Like you saw the Instagram pictures of that thing in like a freezer in like a supermarket. Like it was dumb, but it was creative and it was good. It's a good idea. I think really good. Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely deserves number 4. So number 3 for me, I've put the Off-White Air Jordan 4, and these are the ones that were in the sale colorway, and they were also in women's sizing, which really annoyed me because my size, I think they either didn't do, or like it was just so rare that it's just like stupidly expensive. I think I'm like a US 12.5 women's, which is a UK 10 for me, I think. But
so you're US 11 then.
I'm US 11. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, okay.
The only one is 10.5, which is
right. I see.
US.
Yeah, which is a bit small, which is frustrating because it just means I can't wear it. But I don't know, Virgil makes these decisions, right? Yeah, just keep it to Virgil's boys. But yeah, anyways, so cool shoe. I think it's a cool shoe. Sale colorway is nice. I think one thing will be interesting in the future will be if that sale colorway does discolor. I mean, if you think about the OG, the 10, if I had some OG, the 10s, 97s, and they discolored like crazy, like after a month or two, like they just felt they just looked like they were old, and which is quite a shame for a shoe which is so cool and iconic and clean at the start. It's a shame. I think it's pretty to do. It's to do with oxidation. Are they the same thing? I don't know.
Oxidating.
Something like that. You know what I mean? But it's to do with that, and it's a shame that you can't. There's nothing you can really do to protect against that, other than just like keeping it in like an airtight container somewhere, which obviously not going to do. But what was yours? What was your third?
So mine is a little controversial compared to yours. I actually have the 5 of the Off-White Jordans. Okay. And it's actually not the sales colorway. It's actually the black colorway that was originally released during All-Star Weekend in Chicago. I think, to me, I think the design of it, the story behind it, it's pretty cool. Like Virgil had a Jordan 5 and he beat the crap out of the shoe when he was wearing it. So he designed it the same way how the shoe would look from his perspective when the shoe was already beaten up. And he had the yellow outsoles where, like you said, with the oxidating of the outsoles, he already made it yellow, and you can cut holes into the shoes on the side, and just makes it a pretty unique design of the shoe. And on top of that, I just felt like the black colorway looks a lot better. I mean, I don't knock the sales at all. Like I had the Jordan 4, I had it when then I sold it, but like that shoe is clean. I gotta say it's a clean looking shoe. But I think the 5s, the black colorway just had a better design for me. You know? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's a very, very, very fair comment. I think, as we mentioned earlier, the 4s and the 5s this year have really come into play. I think the 4s especially and the Dunks have seen a lot of love by Nike. I think maybe next year we may see more of the 5s coming into play. I think with what we tend to see is Nike do like a big collab with a big name, and then like a few months later they'll start dropping more pairs or like special versions of that pair in like GR releases or in more limited sort of hype releases. But that's what we tend to see with Nike. I think it's smart marketing and it works. It'll be interesting to see what colorways they drop from the 5s next year. Did they drop Bel Airs as well, right? This year were they 5s?
They did the Bel Airs, and then was the hair was a 6, right? The white.
I think so. Yeah.
6. Yeah. Okay. So they had the grape alternate grape.
Yeah. Jordan 5. I remember that. Yeah.
And then they also had the fire red Jordan 5. So they had quite a few 5s dropping this year. Yeah,
absolutely. We've been spoiled for choice from Nike this year with those, but we'll see if the hype generates. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so my number 2 is the Strangelove Dunks, and shall I mention my number 1 as well at this point?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So my number 1 is the Travis Scott Dunks. And there's going to be some bias to this as well, because I actually own a pair, which I won for retail in a really lucky raffle. And I never win raffles, so I was really happy to get these. But those are my top 2. And as I said earlier, it's it's definitely been the year of the dunks this year. Like, think about the number of dunks that have released, which is so cool. Like, there's so many. Like, even from the beginning of the year, we had like the off-white dunks, and then we had like just more like mainstream releases, and then we had the skate shop releases, and then there's just so many. And I'll mention a couple more as well in my like my what would have been my top 10 basically. But those are my top 2. What are yours?
Okay, so I have the Dior ones, the highs specifically, as number 2.
Sure.
I just feel like that one, it could have been number 1 in terms of top shoes released this year, but I just felt like being how unaccessible it is to people, to the general public, and how expensive the freaking shoe is. But just the design of it, right? The way it looks, and the collaboration with a luxury brand definitely makes it. You got to mention it in the top 5, right?
Absolutely.
And my number 1 is actually the Strangelove, because I just really love that shoe. I think they knocked it out of the park with the design, with the material they used. Like, one specific detail I really like was like the heart-shaped petals they have in the bottom of the outsole. It's
right.
Oh my God, come on, like, that is amazing. And then the special box, the way the special box that comes in,
yeah,
oh my God, that is I'm telling you,
someone's got to get him a pair. Buy this guy a pair. Look at him, he's passionate.
I think it's just amazing. But,
yeah,
so yeah, I think, and on top of that, being the year of the dunk, that shoe is just amazing. Yeah,
absolutely. I definitely think those top 2 shoes are justified. I didn't include the Dior ones in the top 5 for myself, and the reason, 2 reasons. One is accessibility, as you mentioned, and the other is because I think it's an amazing shoe. I just feel like it may have been somewhat overhyped, and it's, if you know what I mean, like, I genuinely do. I think it was a great shoe, and if it hadn't been this overhyped, I would have not. And in a sense, I'm sort of playing devil's advocate just for the sake of disagreeing with you. But it's a very close. It's definitely within the top 10. I mean, and that's what I'll move on to now. So if I was to do like a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th place, this is what I'd put down. So I put down Chunky Donkeys for 6. I put down the Yeezy 350 re-release, which doesn't really count because it's a re-release, obviously, of the Breads and the Zebras, which only released a couple weeks ago now, actually. Right. Number 8, I put down Grateful Dead Dunks. They released in 3 colorways. You've got the orange, the yellows, and the greens. I think the yellows were probably my favorite. They look quite cool. Dior Jordans were 9, and then Civilist Dunks were 10 for me. But out of that whole list, actually, what's quite interesting is if you think about how many unique features those shoes had, which were in our top 10s. So whether it be the Paranoises with sort of like the underlayer underneath the initial layer, or whether it be like the Civilist Dunks with the heat reactions, or whether it be like the special boxes that you mentioned for the Strangelove Dunks. I think, you know, these very little like niche, like very unique things from shoes. I feel like sneakerheads really appreciate that, and I feel like Nike does a really good job at making these shoes feel special. I think that's important. Like, if you're spending so much money on shoes, and Nike know that you're spending that much money on shoes because they know how limited these shoes are, then you want to buy it, and you want to feel like, you know, this is a special like collector's piece. This is not just any normal beta. This is like a good shoe, and Nike are doing well on that. What's in your runners up list?
So I have a few of them. I have the Easy Foam Runners. And I just feel like that one, being a low retailed and very limited shoe, and the really interesting, funky design of it, I think some people appreciate it. I wouldn't wear them personally, but I think that's definitely a unique design shoe and being released this year. And I also have the Travis Dunks, and I think that dunk would have made it to top 5, to be honest, but I wanted to share some other dunks that I really enjoyed. The Travis Dunks, honestly, it's from just the colorway, from the design, it could have been easily number 1, to be honest. And I think that dunk is a really good looking shoe. And let's see what else I have. I have the Syracuse and the Kentucky Dunks. Those were the kind of the OG dunks that, you know, if you know, the original history of the dunks was they were made for basketball players, and mainly college basketball players. So Syracuse, Kentucky, both really large like household names in terms of college basketball. and the colorway they released, very simple, just a blue and white and orange and white, but really clean looking shoe. And let's see what else I had. I had the Off-White 4 sales. I think that one, like I said, I held it in my hand. It was a very clean looking shoe, but I just felt like the 5s were better, like, spoken to me, you know. So that's how that was the list. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good. There was a huge amount of similarity within our sort of top 5, and then obviously the runners up as well. I think it's definitely been a Nike kind of year. Checks over stripes, absolutely. I mean, in that whole list, there was literally like only 2 pairs of Yeezys mentioned, and they weren't even in the top 5. I think it just shows what kind of year Adidas has had, and you know, when you mentioned earlier about like Dior and Nike, it's a luxury brand collab. That's how you do a collab. If you see the Prada Adidas collab, like, you look at it and you just think, like, what the hell's happened here? Like what type of creativity does Adidas have? I mean, clearly none, because they just got a superstar and slapped a Prada logo on it and called it a day. But like, what are they doing? And it's the same with DSM. Like, they did a collab with DSM as well, and all they did was they just got a Stan Smith. They just took off all the branding and just put a DSM logo at the back. Like why? Like, just do something with it. It's just such a boring, especially with the Prada one, because the retail on that was like really expensive as well.
It was like $1,000 or something.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was just stupid, and you couldn't justify it, because although it's got premium leather or whatever, like, it's just a bog standard shoe. Like, people are let's be real, all right? People wear sneakers to flex on other people. Like, if you're walking around in superstars, like, no one's gonna be like, oh bro, I wish I had them shoes on my feet. Like, no one's gonna feel that. So yeah, I mean, Adidas got to step up their game for 21. It will be interesting to see what they do with their Yeezy lineup. I do think that their Yeezy lineup is probably the biggest thing going for them at the minute. Would you agree?
Yes, I do. I just think, I hope Kanye, wherever he is in Montana or wherever hole he's in, just make some better colorways. Like, come on, man. The most recent one we had was the sand. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. It's like he's going through the airbenders, like, elemental list and thing, like, which one I want to name it, but he's not making any sense with the colorways whatsoever.
No, you're absolutely right.
People are like, I'm tired of it. Like, I like 350 as a shoe. I just think the design needs to have some more effort into it. That's all.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, there is so many shades of brown available to the human eye. Like, there becomes a point where it just all becomes like one big blur, and if you start like mixing in like 380s and like other models into the mix where they've also used different shades of brown, like, they're literally all just brown. They're just a brown colorway. He's just got like 50 shoes in the same colorway, effectively, with slightly different names. But we're just gonna have to see what happens. I think he's obviously obsessed with this neutral thing at the minute. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, since he introduced the neutral thing, that's when I think these issues started to arise. Because if you think about his OG Yeezys, like the OG Breads, OG Zebras, like the copper, like the red stripe, like, those shoes were like iconic at the time, but they weren't boring. Like, they stood out. Like, the bread stripe was just like, you saw it and you're like, oh, those are Yeezys. Like, you just know what they're called, you know what they're it's just gone now. It's just not there, and he's just not adapting, really.
I really wish, like, you know, the OG colorways, the belugas, the zebras, those were just amazing, right? Like, people loved it. And that's why, or even the first version of 350 where they had the pirate blacks or the moonlocks, those were just, oh my gosh, those were nice, right? But now everything is just all sandy, moshy looking colors, and like, they're like, I feel like if you put all the Yeezys together, it might combine to Kanye West.
Maybe
color he is
maybe that's what he's trying to achieve.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what he's doing. Like, he's trying to figure out all the colors that combine together to make a certain color that he liked. But like, something's got to change, because the OG ones are amazing, but now he's watering down to a point it's just not worth it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely agreed. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up for today. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. I hope we can work together in the future as well. If anyone in my channel doesn't know who Erden is, I'll leave a channel link in the description. He's got way more followers on me though, so I don't know why I'm acting like I've got clout here, because I don't. Man. I really don't. But yeah, anyways, thanks again for joining us, and for everyone else, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in another video at some point soon.